last time we did some stuff. I'm going to be honest, I'm not 100%. I'm tangentially interested in the story.
Brother, do not keep us in the dark.
It is not your concern.
You criticize the captain for withholding intelligence, and yet you treat us to the same evasive obscurity.
Stray words have cost me dearly.
So you do not trust us?
Brothers, calm yourselves, lest you face the chaplain's censure.
I'll say one thing. I don't think, maybe outside of Rogue Trader.
Look!
What? Oh. Maybe they should really set that thing down before it fucking crashes and kills a bunch of people.
Those are flawless battles. I hope they survive.
Outside of Rogue Trader, I don't think there has really been a Warhammer 40k game that has had a story I would call good. I would say that the vast majority of them are serviceable. I think what carries most of the Warhammer games is the setting. It's just like cool shit happening and like oh, Space Marines and chaos and all this cool stuff. I feel like it's a challenge to write a good story in this universe, because it sounds stupid as hell to say, but good stories require characters. And I think because of its origin as a tabletop game where you have dozens, if not hundreds, of little pieces, and it's very sort of
Time to go. I will not concede another loss.
separated from like individuality. It's harder to get those kind of things because you have to introduce characters, and also it's hard to make characters that we care about in a world that is so alien. Like, everyone here is a giant fucking asshole, human or not, so it's hard for them to make good characters, or more difficult.
I tire of reckless fools.
I hope you do not mean us.
Not unless you worship the Omniscient.
Ah, then I share your distaste.
I like how everyone is like, yes, the Mechanikists are a bunch of fucking nerds and we hate them. Rescue the mans. Okay, I remember now. Just ignore your hardware monitor. Don't look at all the temperatures of your computer. Just don't look at it. It's not that hot. It's just, it still always frightens me.
The temple is located inside the dome section of the city. We'll have to land outside and make our lock armor.
Can you put a helmet on, guys? No? Okay. Helmets are smart.
Lance of Jove, report.
Minor damage. Tag team is inbound.
Minor?
Can we depend on you for extraction?
Yes, Lord. We will be there.
Very good, brother. The Emperor protects. Make haste. We have considerable ground to cover.
Again, a shocking level of detail. I went over this last stream. shit is so big.
Based on Overwatch and stuff.
Shit is so big, and this is just like stuff in the fucking background. But it, like, okay, for what I mean is like, look at the level of detail here for stuff that's like right next to the player, stuff that the player is almost definitely going to see. Like, you know, level of detail in terms of like the sort of like, you can see these little like I don't know what they'd be called, but like the trim, I guess you would say, of all this stuff, the skulls and the little spikes and all that level of detail. And this is stuff that the player's definitely going to see, so it has all that sort of stuff. And then you look at this building that's like a kilometer away, and it has like almost the same level of detail. And it's just like a background piece, or this bridge. Like, it's insane. They're thick-headed, so no need for helmets. You know what? I was actually thinking a moment ago when I said no helmets. I was thinking, how, like, can they just, like, resist bullets with their heads?
Magazine.
Sir, have you faced a Neurothroat before?
I have. A tricky adversary.
Probably like a basic slug throw bullets. If it does hit bone, las and bolts would probably still be fatal. Yeah, fair enough. I was gonna say, like, I feel like the las gun gets unfairly maligned as a flashlight when it is a fucking laser. It's a fucking high energy coherent beam of light. You get a couple of those aiming at you, it's gonna melt you. It's gonna cut right through you. Like, I love that. Look at that. Oh, I love the Imperial Guard. I love the Guard aesthetic. I love the basic las rifle. It looks so cool. Give me more games where I can play as the Guard. Give me a game where I can fucking drive a Lehman Russ. Give me a game where I can play as a Commissar.
Resupplying.
Give me more games where I can play as like a sanctioned psyker.
Clear the area. For the Emperor.
Lasgun blows limbs off of unarmed humans, and yeah, the Guard is the best. I love the Guard. I think they're so cool. Just like, they fight. Yeah, it takes fucking bravery to do this shit. Also, they're still the Imperial Guard to me. I'm not fucking calling them the Astra Militarum. I know that Guild Wars is allergic to things they can't copyright. Or Guild Wars, Games Workshop is allergic to things they can't copyright. But they're still the Guard. This is my favorite part, proper big scale fighting. I'll say this is pretty big. I mentioned it, I don't know if I mentioned it, I think I mentioned it in the video description, but, yeah, Astra Mill what? You're in the Guard, son. Yeah, exactly. This game has some of the most, like, just the most enemies I've seen on screen outside of a Total War game.
Is that you?
Chiron! Bless the Emperor. It's good to see you.
Where's your squad?
Hey, the fucking the notifications decided to work this stream. Thanks for the
We need to get
follow.
across the bridge.
Lieutenant, nothing gets across with that beast up there.
What are we up against?
It has its rear covered and we do not have the manpower to break through. The Cadians are holding the bridge, at great cost.
Set up assault positions by the bridge. We'll deal with the Neurothroat.
Very well.
We will avenge them, brother.
Watch yourself.
does the red helmet mean anything, or is it like just like a personal choice?
What's our theoretical? A direct assault on the rear guard.
Fire grenades? Melt-a-bomb. Extreme damage, distance detonation.
Good.
Huh. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. I wanted to make the thing go away, and I tapped V instead of the other button.
They never learn.
Yeah, I find the parry system a little finicky. I feel like sometimes it's not telegraphed well whether or not something is parryable or not. But the few times that it does like work, I think as it's intended, it does feel satisfying. Like that last one I fought, parry. It did a parry, hit him a couple times, hit him with the pistol shot, and then finished him off with the execute. That felt like a good flow. I just feel like sometimes the timing is a bit finicky. Sometimes you get like stuck in animations, or you think you hit the parry button, but the timing was a little off.
Let us honor him by avenging his men.
That was cool. Never get into elevators in an action game.
Restocking.
It's one of those things that whenever it's like a video game and it's like, oh, get into an elevator or get into like a helicopter, I'm like, okay, so how is this elevator gonna like start losing control and plummeting to the ground, or how is this helicopter going to be shot down?
Reloading.
Can I just like step on these boxes to break them? One of them work, but not this one. Oh, there we go. There's nothing in it. Oh, didn't even see that. Oh, too late.
Changing magazine.
You can actually parry most attacks, just the ones that show as red. Practice it with a single warrior to get the timing done. I think it is a little... Yes, that's the thing, is I think the indicator, I think that's what's confusing, is that the game makes it very clear that, oh, if there's an indicator, it's parryable. But then it doesn't show that for every attack, which makes it kind of confusing, because you're like, wait, does that mean that that attack is not parryable? Or it feels like it's a... I almost kind of just want, like... Just remove it then. I would almost say, like, remove the indicator altogether and just have me base the parries on the animation. Like, just, you know, it does seem weird. I wonder if that was, like, a weird concession where, like, they wanted to make sure that it was clear to the player that, oh, there are attacks that are, like, clearly parryable. But they didn't want... They didn't want you to be bombarded by indicators when there's like a dozen different enemies around you. You know, it kind of makes me think of the Batman Arkham games, where, you know, you have the enemy, you have the little markers above the enemy's heads in those games when they're about to throw a punch at Batman, so you can counter them. And that usually never got too crazy because you were only usually fighting like 5 or 6 guys at a time, and that only like later on in the game did you get like tons of enemies. The indicators for longer range attacks that have a more generous timing, yes, I have noticed that, like, yeah, especially when like the little guys, when the ankle biter enemies are like diving towards you, they do try to make it clear that it's like, hey, this guy is gonna try to jump at you. You can, you know, grab him out of the air and squish him. I like the melee combat enough. I have, like I said, I had complaints, but I'm a sucker for the guns in Warhammer 40k, so I want to use them more. I want to shoot the big guns.
You are withholding information relevant to the mission at hand.
It's one of the reasons I was kind of peeved when Darktide first came out, where it was like, you fuckers, you tricked me. You thought I thought this was going to be a gun game, and you made it a fucking melee-focused game. I know you can still go very gun in Darktide, but that's why I only play veteran for the most part. I believe in the TF2 engineer way of thinking when it comes to this sort of stuff, is that the answer is gun, and when that doesn't work, add more gun.
Beauty, this one. Hope she gets to see action. Each day, I cleanse the sand from her joints, oil the gears. I honor the machine's spirit by doing me duty. I perform the daily rites so the weapon's spirit will be swift and wrathful.
And yes, use more gun. I do, yeah, abuse every execution mode. I have been doing that because that is just like free iframes. Free iframes, a little bit of armor recharge.
Smoke grenade out! Deal with them!
Gladly. Come and meet death's
Same with the jumping. Again, see, that's something I am never gonna know the difference between all these things. All these things have silly names.
Morellis, ready
You know,
on
actually, no, it's not fair. The names are not that difficult to remember. Like, okay, that last thing, the invisible guy was a lictor. It's a case of that a lot of them just all look the same. They all just look like giant space bug, and so it's like, oh, that's the bigger giant space bug. Got it. Oh, my favorite enemy. Why is this guy a boss now? This feels kind of bizarre. These guys are the... I'm going to get mad at this thing. I despise these enemies. Oh, come on. Really? What am I supposed to do against that? Oh, fucking Christ. That's awful. I get it. You gotta get in and beat it when it does that. Sorry, what was I supposed to do for that?
Brothers, hey!
time for vengeance.
On the ground!
Using frag grenade.
Yeah, sometimes I just opt to face tank attacks and hope I kill it before it kills me.
Almost there! Hold on! I need help! Fight the fly!
Small running bastard, Hormagaunt. Small shooty bastard, Termagant. Big things are warriors, and that's 99% of the stuff. Okay. So,
is dead.
is this thing a psyker? Is this thing have like psychic powers?
Morales, this is Titus.
Or is it using like weird
Your men are
weird
clear to
like,
take the bridge.
By the Primarch.
or are they like, is it like weird Tyranid mental powers of like that aren't related to?
Our path leads to the dome.
Travel well, brothers.
Because if it's a psyker, doesn't that mean it has to have some sort of
Lance and
connection
Joe,
to the
we are
warp?
heading for the bridge. Status report.
Damage is worse than I thought. Tech priests are working on it now.
Keep me updated. Brothers, let us proceed.
They use the yeah, use psychic powers, mental powers. They use the warp, if I recall correctly. Okay, that's. So I guess that might be another reason why the KLS probably doesn't like the Tyranids very much, is because it's like they're like some weird fucking intruders. It's like, who are these weird space bugs from another galaxy that can, you know, use psychic warp powers?
The Cadians are driving the Tyranids back. The Xenos cowards balk at a fair fight. Vile creatures.
No time to gloat. We must keep moving.
Oh, this is why the guard is the best. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. This is like a tabletop battle or like a Total War. Oh, that's my fucking dream, is that they've made 3 Total War Warhammers. I want Creative Assembly now to make a Total War Hammer 40K game. Please. Please, make it work somehow. I know there's a lot of guns, but you can make it work. I will pay I will deal with your obscene DLC DLC policy. The Tyranids project a null blanket over the area they invade. No FTL communication, and your astropaths go crazy. Warp is closed off to others. So would any like human psychers not be able to do anything if the Tyranids are there? I guess maybe depending on the amount of Tyranids and the strength of the psyker. Where did all you come from? They can, but it's not good, and they can't communicate long distances as the High Fleet is in the way. No means to help to the planets they invade. Yeah, psychers aren't happy with it. Yeah, okay. Metal boxes!
Sergeant, good to see you.
The Cadians have the bridge under control. Thought you could use an extra hand.
A welcome offer.
Come on.
The Space Marines hide in their metal boxes.
The temple is this way.
We are the Space Marines. We are the Emperor's Fury.
Go. Thank you, brother.
The Codex Astartes names this maneuver Steel Rain.
Ultramarines!
That was I never played the first Dawn of War, but I know the memes.
No, my lord.
What about the Temple of Thasian?
The dome was evacuated days ago.
Rejoin the main force immediately.
Our orders are to remain here.
On whose authority?
Captain Fairburn. We are to hold this position until further notice.
The dome is empty. Now move on.
But, sire...
I gave
Yeah,
you
these guys
an
are
order.
not actually real Cadians, I'm guessing.
Forgive me, my lord. Perhaps there was a communication error. The captain insisted.
The deserters.
No. We have our orders.
Vox your captain. If you are deserters, I'll execute you myself.
Yeah, I just noticed. I wasn't looking at his eyes.
Captain Fairburn, come in. Captain Fairburn, come in.
Come on, man. Really?
Ambush.
Like, that was... You didn't cover up your fucking heretical tattoo?
Kill them.
Oh my god. Oh boy. Chaos nerds.
Traitors. You will burn.
Which chapter is that? I can barely recognize the loyalist chapters. Which chapter is this?
You will pay for what you've done.
Oh, I want to see what an execution move looks like on one of these guys. Whoa.
No victory for you here.
Thousand Suns. It's just magical warp cocaine and no flesh in that armor. Oh wow, that's fucking cool. I didn't know that. I will say that it looks cool, but it kind of takes some of the satisfaction out of this. There's no flesh and blood. There's no meat. That's how they look cool.
Worthless life is ended.
Their sorcerers are still meaty. So like, what happened to the actual Marine then? Like, what happened? Like, are they just like warp entities now or something?
They corrupt space and time.
Do not fall prey to their trickery.
Hello.
Their champion lies defeated.
They had a little warp oopsie and the entire Legion is now dust. You know, it happens. Except the Psychers, of course. I will say this is good. I think this is, I'm going to say it for pacing wise, this is a good point to introduce something a little different. I think these enemies are a little different, and they are. I think the fact that there's not as many of them is a nice little bit of a break, because man, do you get swarmed by the Tyranids.
No doubt. Heretic Astartes and their minions.
Throne, damn it. Do you have lures?
Negative. We're minutes away.
Find him and get him out of there. Hurry! What are we waiting for?
They look very Egyptian. Their armor, it's very like, they kind of remind me of some of like the Tomb Lords stuff from Warhammer Fantasy. Yeah, they do. Their home planet has giant ants pyramids. Okay, so yeah, there's, which is weird because there's already a group in this setting that is also very Tomb Lords-y. The Necrons are like evil space Egyptians, or ancient evil space Egyptians. Until the space wolves burn the whole place down.
Cover him.
Why did we do this? Why did you do this?
I will grind your bones to dust!
Oh no. Those look like demons.
Take a defensive position. We will cover. Tyra!
He is in a rage.
He's risking the entire mission.
He is trapped over there.
There are force fields covering the exits.
They seem impervious to our weapons.
With that grenade.
Deploying shock grenade. Reloading weapon. Your treachery ends now.
So these guys serve, what's his face? The guy I can't pronounce, the guy whose name I can't pronounce, the Chaos God, whose name I've heard 17 pronunciations of, and I'm too self-conscious to say it because I don't know if I'm saying it correctly. The one who isn't Korn, Nurgle, or Slaanesh. Oh, fuck. I'm just guessing that because they're blue.
Give me strength.
Get back in the fight. Close one.
My thanks, brother. The champion lies defeated. Changing magazine. Munitions secured.
Cinch.
That is all of them.
I've noticed the demon guys were very like
The exit is blocked by heretic
change.
sorcery.
That's never gonna happen.
Mark of the arch enemy.
I'm never gonna pronounce it correctly.
Artifact destroyed.
Look, the force fields are collapsing.
Change. Oh, whatever.
By the gates of Hera, you must calm yourself.
I will not rest until every last
Las
vile
Fusil.
heretic lies dead at my feet.
It's a new gun. Gotta try it. I think this is the first and only las weapon you get in the game so far. Well, now we know it's a charge weapon.
Other business.
He will need cover.
Really?
He has put the fate of the whole system in jeopardy.
I'm surprised it was that one of our guys that went fucking berserk.
I will end
I feel like this guy here was the one that was always a bit more like hot-headed and willing to like ask questions and stuff. The one who, the one that seemed more likely to be like to get a little, you know, lose the reins kind of thing.
Atreus.
I will say these guys really look cool. These Chaos Marines, I'm really digging their look. Because like usually when I think Chaos Marine, I think like loads of spikes. I think loads of spikes. I think of two things. I think of loads of like pointy spikes and edge, and I think Noise Marines, and that's it.
Restocking.
And tentacles, yeah.
Worthless life is empty.
I think these guys are cool enough that if I were to get Chaos Marines as like the minifigs, I would get these guys. If I ain't got any figurines, I'd get these guys. They're cool. Really like their look. I think like 40K would be like tabletop 40K would be like my rich person hobby.
Your head. I have you.
Like I know it's not like prohibit. It's not like super expensive. It's like yeah, I play video games. It's not like video games are cheap. You know, and there I am going, oh, you know. Oh, Warhammer figurines are so expensive. I would never spend money on that. It's like, how much was the graphics card you just, how much was the graphics card you bought last year? You know, around $1,200.
No traitors remain. Get to Chiron, now!
300 bucks gets you a 3D printer.
Sergeant, check the perimeter.
Yes, brother.
Explain yourself.
Need I justify my hatred?
You need justify your recklessness.
The traitors have a debt to me.
And you would throw away your life to collect?
Death is my duty.
Your duty is to the Emperor. You will die
Cheaper than Guild.
when and
I don't
where
want to see
he so
GW, I see
chooses,
Guild
not
Wars.
over
Cheaper
some
than Game
personal
Workshop
vendetta.
prices. Yes,
Do you understand?
almost certainly.
Lieutenant.
It would, you know, it would be
should see
like,
this.
I think there's problem number two. Let's say I do it. I buy a 3D printer, and I figure it out, and I get it set up, and I'm gonna print myself 1 billion armies of everything I want. I have no room to put these fuckers anywhere. See, I already collect
They're
other
using some kind of shield.
pieces of useless plastic. that are almost as expensive. I've been a fan of Lego since I was a child.
They must generate the shield.
And like right above my
Destroy
desk
them.
is like a meter-long
Purge these
Lego model
abominations from
of the
face
Saturn
this
V
world.
rocket from the Apollo 11 mission, and that thing was like 500
It
bucks.
seems the traitors' motives are unmasked.
And it's taking up most of. There's,
They wish to stop
you
the
know,
war.
I have to
You will
decide
soon
which
learn that when
which
dealing
pieces
with
of plastic is
heretics,
going to
nothing is as
take
it
up
seems.
space on my shelves. Oh.
They cried out my name, but I stayed hidden. My position, my rank, my life is
Plasma
worth more than
incinerator,
theirs.
person-
I am of the Adeptus Administratum.
Plasma.
I am a Vitvarmento Exactor. I pay for the war. I am instrumental. I pass on the tithes. I open the purse.
How well does a 3D printer make these minifigures? I wonder, because I have no experience with 3D printers. So, and I'm guessing it depends on what you get and what you're like. It's one of those things where I don't even know how a 3D printer works. Kill Team is a good game, and you only need like 10, 20 dudes if you want to get into the miniatures. I think that would probably be, if I wanted to get into the miniatures, I'd probably start small. I'd do something like that then.
Worthless life is empty.
I think I just don't know. And then see, and there's the next part of like, fuck, you gotta paint them too. Is kill team like a small squad tactics kind of
The
thing?
artifact we saw in those classified files.
Like you get like 1 or 2 squads of dudes and you just fight off against 1 or 2 squads of enemies.
It is immensely powerful. They believe they can control it.
You're just gonna hand it over to lose. Let it continue.
These are my orders.
We got a resin printer at Local Nerd Club. Uses UV light to harden resin. The detail level is very good. Takes some fluid tinketing. I love painting myself. It's meditative. See, I think I could get. I don't know.
It matters not.
I would love to want to be good at that sort of stuff, but like I don't know if I would have the patience to suffer failures in like learning how to paint. I have a very low. It's one of the reasons why I never like learned how to play like an instrument, is that I always felt so frustrated spending like, you know, why is it that I spent doing 2 months trying to learn this instrument and I can't do fucking anything, and then someone else who spends 2 months is like, oh, I can, play a song. And so I would have low tolerance for like, okay, these guys, I painted them, they look like absolute fucking shit. How do I get better? And then I don't get better, and then I get upset, and then I get disillusioned, and I go, I don't want to do this anymore. To be fair, when it comes to like stuff like any sort of visual arts, I have never. I was the kid who could never do any sort of like visual things well.
Area secure.
I did not have any sort of artistic talent in that regard.
Grabbing equipment.
Sure, I will definitely make good use of this melta. There's a thing called contrast paints, which is like one cover of paint and it looks decent. Google it sometime. It's a cheat code for painting. Yeah, I might actually, if I ever do really feel like it, I might consider it, because like if I ever do like want to get into the 40K miniatures, I think maybe 3D printer would be the way to go. I think overall, considering the prices that Games Workshop charges.
It reeks of the warp.
Raise the armor of your contempt and snuff it out.
Look! It shrinks from us!
Then keep close and endure. We must disrupt the spell.
But part of it, there's actually part of the thing I really like about the fact that there are actually some good Warhammer games, and more are coming out, or have come out over like the last like 10 years, is, it's like buying and painting minifigures is expensive. And it's time consuming, and of course you do need to, like bring them places to play with. You need to have people to play against. Where a video game is, you pay your $60, $70, and then you have a video game.
I am down.
Or buy used minis and strip the paint to find good deals. I honestly didn't even think of the fact that people probably sell these things. Didn't even consider that there'd be a used market. Wait, what? Throw the melta. Throw the melta bomb. Oh, fuck. Oh, you dropped the melta bomb.
Fight is one.
Repay them in kind, brother. I am up.
Alright, no longer using the melta bomb, because I have whiffed 2 of them.
Resupplying. Their champion lies defeated. My armor is reached focal points. Stabilizing vitals.
video games definitely have the convenience factor. Minis have utility, though. It's super fun having your little dudes on the table and having beers with lads, rolling some dice. Yeah, I can see that. I've watched some people do like videos of like battle reports of like, oh, here's my army of whatever against his army of whatever, and they go like turn by turn and sort of like record the action of what happened each turn.
Back to the war with you.
No, you're actually ankle deep. Well, I've watched a couple, and it's been a while since I've seen another one. But sometimes it's just, it's neat to see just like, oh wow, this is cool. But again, it just comes down to like, man, it's just a lot of effort. You know, like, so for example, that's why I say I want a Total War Warhammer 40K, because it's one of those things where it's like, I would never nowadays, I would never like be like, oh, I'm gonna buy Warhammer Fantasy Minis. I know that there's other reasons why I wouldn't be able to buy Warhammer Fantasy Minis, but I wouldn't buy Warhammer Fantasy Minis because I would just go, I'm going to just reinstall Total War Warhammer. Oh, I'm dead. Great. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, Total Warhammer 3 is the best way. Yeah, I don't have Total Warhammer 3, but I've played 1 and 2, and I'm gonna wait until like Total Warhammer 3 is like steeply discounted before I buy it. But like that would be the best way to do it, is you fucking download that, you install that, you start up a game of Immortal Empires, and you have almost every single faction in fucking Warhammer Fantasy represented with an army and on the map, and you can, you know, you have the tactical experience of the individual battles, and then the sort of 4X you know, thing of expanding and fighting and all that stuff on like a world map. So if they, I don't know how they would make something like that for 40K, but even if it was just like a even if it didn't have like the conquest thing, I would love just like something like a Total War Battleground kind of thing with like hundreds and thousands of little miniatures and stuff like that, like guys fighting on the thing in like a real-time strategy game. That would be really cool to see. And granted, it would be a challenge because you're dealing with a lot more guns and a lot more ranged than fantasy for the most part. You know, there are some, you know, fantasy does have some exceptions. It's, yeah, the humans have guns, the dwarves have guns, the rats have guns. You know, honestly, I feel like Total War 40K or something is going to happen eventually. It's inevitable at this point. They would be leaving money on the table if they didn't do something like that. Oh my god. I can imagine that the Total Warhammer games sell pretty darn well, considering they've made 3 of them. So like, I would not be surprised I wouldn't be surprised if there's at least been like talks where someone has asked, like someone from Games Workshop is like, okay, people at Creative Assembly, you've made these 3 games for us with Warhammer Fantasy.
No big.
What are like the feasibility of making it for 40K? Come on. I used my self-revive earlier, too.
Your worthless life is empty.
again, I mentioned that there's some points in this game that I don't think are very well optimized for one player. I think this is one of them. These kind of objectives work better when you have at least like another human player, because then you can have one human player who's constantly sitting in the ring, and then another human player or like two of the other guys going out and fighting the guys. Because it's hard to progress this and fight the guys who are spawning outside of the ring at the same time. And then this fucking shit happens. So that's one of the psychers. He's bloody. He's still got meat in him. That has to be it, right? This also kind of reminds me of like a Darktide objective. Except we're not being yelled at constantly by a tech priest to reset the fucking data interrogator. Hadron Online.
Quickly! Their sorcery is undone. Lieutenant Titus, the Lance of Jove, status report.
Take magic box and point it at things.
The Emperor protects.
Mommy Hadron, ooh, yeah.
Lance of Jove, stand by for extraction.
Affirmative.
What'd she call them again? Varlets, right?
In the name of the Emperor, open the doors!
A somewhat normal-looking tech priest.
Morius lose.
I owe you my existence.
Come with us.
To where?
The battle barge.
Compliance, but I must speak with Archmagus Nozick at once.
He's dead.
Dead?
You are to replace him. Lose.
I was speaking earlier about how it's difficult to make characters in this universe that people can care about because of how alien humanity is. And I think here's like a perfect example where both of these people are ostensibly human. One is a 9-foot-tall genetically modified super soldier, and the other guy is more toaster than he is man, or like flesh.
The power source. It's dangerous.
I have spent my life studying it. I assure you it's quite safe. In the right hands.
Arrogance.
Arrogance.
Why must the Mechanicus meddle with the unknown?
We follow the will of the Omnisire.
Go ahead.
Titus, report to Captain Akaran immediately on arrival.
Confirmed.
Titus? A Captain Titus was killed on the Forge world of Graia over a century ago. He died holding the power source in his hands. Not even an Astartes could survive power of that magnitude.
Morius Luz, come with me.
I just looked up that novel you told me to look up, Blind Sight, and I will say that unfortunately when I read the Wikipedia page and it said hard science fiction novel, I kind of lost interest. I am not a particular fan of hard science fiction. I feel like it often just strips away the fun of science fiction in a pursuit of realism. It's like, yes, I know that space travel would take a very long time. That's why I don't care to have that be in my science fiction book.
Take note of the battle damage for the engine seals. Armor plating in section.
What was that between you and Luz?
It deals with stuff like the consciousness and how the mind works. You know, that's
That is your right.
Brother,
I
only want to help you.
Help.
that's my next thing, is that I know this is gonna make me sound like a fucking Philistine. I don't particularly care for any sort of like I don't even want to say like not intellectual. I don't particularly care for deep theme sci-fi. I want exploration, and I want adventure, and I want space to be the Wild West. That's the science fiction I like. I want it to be the last great frontier, and I want to see sort of the ideas. I want that. I want, you know, which is I'll take Warhammer 40K. You know, I want like this crazy sort of. I guess you would say more action adventure-y sort of stuff. I guess you could call it space fantasy, or you know. Oh, I've not. It's not to say that I don't like it or I've never engaged with any of that. I really liked reading the I've read the Robot series by Asimov back in high school, and I really enjoyed that. And that's much more. It's not like super hard science fiction, but it's much more of like a thematic thing. It's trying to ask questions about things like consciousness and like what makes a person. What's the difference between a human and a machine, and could a machine be a human or be a person?
Can we at least warn Calgar of the danger?
Impossible. The astropathic relay on Avarax.
It's one of those things where
completely surrounded.
You know what it is? It's like I feel like it's I probably would Blindsight is lighter than Asimov, then I would probably maybe I would probably like that more.
Something's interfering with our
but it's one of those things where
we have to get inside.
It's a harder sell for me. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things where you can only watch or read or play so many things. And
final stand there.
You know, you hand me two books,
Battlefield projection,
and you say they're both science fiction books. One's a hard science fiction book about whatever, and the other one is a more sort of soft science fiction book that's maybe like a traditional adventure. I will probably I will probably read the one that's the lighter the lighter science fiction, just because it's even if they're like both of like relatively the same quality.
I cannot afford to throw men after a hunch.
No, it's like a flavor preference.
Squads.
We need to kill the Hive Tyrant, find whoever is jamming us, and get the message inside the relay.
No, you show me. It's like you show me one flavor of ice cream and the other flavor of ice cream. I might like the one that I don't have as often or I've never tried before, but I know that I like strawberry, so I'm gonna go with the strawberry. You know.
Lieutenant Titus.
Receiving.
Attend me on the crew deck.
We have successfully
Acknowledged.
fuel generators and plasma reactors. The intended goal was to achieve peak performance in all engine-related faculties.
If the chaplain wishes to see you because of my transgressions, I will take full responsibility.
I gave no report. I have yet to decide if you require formal penance.
I will say this game is decently. Oh, okay, maybe not super. It's optimized enough. I'm getting above 60 frames here, but this is very detailed. In the battles, I'm getting around like 90 frames, like between 80 to 90. And I will say that my GPU, it doesn't want to cook itself to death.
Put his brothers before himself. He once shielded me from a Tau ambush. Rail rifle nearly took his arm off along with
It's hovering around 70 degrees, 70 to 75 degrees, my GPU, which is perfectly acceptable for use. My CPU doesn't give a shit. CPU's at like 60 C.
Titus,
Nothing.
the captain has put great faith in you with this mission. Should you reach the relay, your message to Lord Calgar may determine the course.
Why does this
of
guy look like
war.
Reaper from Overwatch?
Choose your words wisely.
You doubt my intentions.
It is your actions I will judge. I need not remind you of the consequences you suffered the last time. If you cannot trust in the will of the Primarch, then you are unfit for this duty.
So, does this game take place in the most current timeline for 40K,
I am not the only one
where
on the
like
ship with
everything is
concerns about
even
your
worse than
intentions.
normal?
It is the chaplain's responsibility to ensure our chapter
Is this
remains pure,
after?
not yours.
Is this
Your erratic behavior is plain for
is
all to see.
is Girly Man the head of the Empire
I
right
am
now?
doing my duty, as I was then, protecting a system from ruin.
Yeah, it's like almost 42K by now. That just doesn't sound as good. Gilliman gets mentioned, okay.
There he is. Lieutenant, Galio and I were just examining your recent diagnostic.
Galio, I object to such intrusions.
As do I. But they are queries I must fulfill.
I seek only answers. Your survivor is a profound mystery that must be resolved.
Such unbridled curiosity is the gateway to ruin.
But that is where you are mistaken. Ruin is all around us, but I will soon depart for the Aurora facility on the Merium. And there, I shall close all gateways to ruin permanently.
So,
you will see.
So are the Primaris Marines, like, do they make any basic Marines anymore? Or is like every new Space Marine a Primaris Marine?
Servitor, ensure those bay doors are finally lubricated, or I shall use my cutting beam on your augments.
Yes, amigos.
Where is the honored brother now?
Sarcophagus,
Good. His silent help will soon throb.
Yeah. Why did it switch my gear? Can I go back to the chainsword for a little bit? Yeah, as of Girly Man's return, all new Marines will be straight to Primaris. so if Primaris Marines, they exist in the tabletop, how, like, are they just better Marines then? Like, is there any point to just having like an Astartes army? No point in making the Firstborn because the Primaris are straight up better. Yup. Oh no, really? That sucks. Holy shit, your entire, like, you could have entire... Oh, Astartes are cheaper point-wise. Oh, you had an entire faction power crept by people who are just bigger. They're taller. I will say, I think that is so, like, the Primaris Marines feel desperate. They feel like a really desperate and embarrassing means of, like, how do we get more people to buy things? How do we what do we, okay, well, what if we introduce a new faction of Space Marines? And it's like, okay, but like, how? It's like, what if they're just another chapter? It's like, that's not gonna be enough. It's like, oh, make them better and just taller.
Repairs underway, sir.
Battle tank armaments and ammunition checks complete, sir.
Lieutenant, the squad is ready. We are yours to command, Lieutenant. The astropathic relay on
had to sell more Space Marines. Space Marines Mark II, now they're taller.
So do our hopes of reinforcement. We will engage in a 3-point operation to break
the
Xenos
it's
command,
I don't know, it feels really scummy.
And secure the relay.
And it's weird because it feels bad in the meta in terms of, like, in the real world, but wouldn't it hurt in the actual, like, in-universe? Because now you have a bunch of Space Marines, like regular dudes, who, regular Space Marines who are like, what? They're like second-class Space Marines. Like, imagine being one of the dudes who it's like, congratulations, you are now a Space Marine. And then, like, a year later, it's like, oh, did you hear about this whole thing? We're doing Primaris Marines now. Games Workshop is a company and they primarily sell plastic or exist to sell minis. It's kind of sad. It's because it's good and interesting, but it is what it is. Yeah, I know. It's one of those things where it's like, yes, there is the meta exceptions and all that, which, you know, and it's funny because it's like, as someone who has never purchased the minifigures, having the Primaris Marines and the regular Marines makes me not want to ever buy either of those. I was kind of like, I find the Space Marines a little overplayed and kind of boring. They're so popular. They're so frequent in the media that I would want to have a different faction. And now knowing that it's like, oh, here's the same faction, except they're taller. And it's like, you know, and they're better in almost every single way. It's like, well, I'm definitely not going to buy any of them now, because that just feels such, like, you know, it's like, here's Space Marines +1.
I searched the archives. You were once captain of the 2nd Company, and then you disappeared over a century ago.
I was serving with the Death
I got a Mechanicus and Elder Corsairs team myself. See, like, if I was, like, if I suddenly went like, okay, here we go, I'm gonna buy all the armies, or I'm gonna buy a bunch of armies, I'm gonna make a bunch of factions. I would probably,
I would die for these colors.
I would probably make a guard army because of some kind. Maybe boring and just be Cadia, because I like the way that the Cadians look.
What were you accused of?
Also, I think the Lehman Russ looks cool.
Corruption.
Brace for landing.
Move out.
But I would also probably make... I really like the Sisters of Battle. I love the way they look. I love the little of the lore I know of them. I think is awesome. I feel like they're woefully underrepresented despite being really fucking cool.
Iridium here, still on our gunship. Thalassa has landed, and soon a tyrant will fall.
Acknowledged. Proceeding to relay.
Sisters of Battle. See, like I think like I see like those like splash art images and stuff like that, or some of the models they show on like their you know, like to display their new models for like sister whatever, like new release of models, and I see like the living saints from the Sisters of Battle, and I'm like, that's the coolest fucking thing. It's like they've become almost literal angels. It's so fucking cool, and you rarely see them in anything. Painting hundreds of plus Guardmen was a pain. That's why I would maybe, it's like one of those things where I love the Guard, but like, I'd like, do I want to paint 100 of these nerds? Like, in a tank? Like, it is the Baneblade!
And hold it high so that the enemy will know the name of their executioners!
Again, these guys are brave. They're going into battle with their goofy helmets and their flashlights. Is this a Baneblade? It is. It has to be, right? It's stupidly large, or is this some sort of variant I don't recognize? I think what's throwing it off is the fact that I'm not a human size. I'm Space Marine size, and so it looks a little smaller than if I was a human, a puny human. It's so cool. I love it. Ever since I first saw it in Dawn of War 2 Retribution, there's the whole level where you're being chased by a traitor Baneblade.
Restocking.
Then you have Captain. If you're playing as the Space Marines, you have the what's his name? You have Captain Apollo Diomedes go, "It is the Baneblade." Jesus. You know what? It's funny because it's like you look at this and you go, oh wow, 40K is horrible. I'm like, this is what's still done to deserters today, depending on where you are. You know he's important because he has a big hat.
Blessed Emperor, I have failed you. I beg of you that you forgive my cowardice.
This must smell absolutely lovely. So I'm sorry I'm going so slow here. I'm just taking in the sights. Again, levels of detail. Look at this like giant space cathedral that is just in the background and how much detail there is on it. Servitization is much worse than getting shot. Yeah. Death is not the worst of evils. There are worse things than death. Tyranid barbecue.
The Vox blackout, Damocles.
Understood. Damocles out.
I do appreciate that this game shows the Guard not just constantly getting not constantly just getting their ass kicked. I feel like that's easy to do, where it's just like, oh, the regular human Joes are getting their butts kicked. It's like, yeah, but they're like hundreds of thousands of dudes with guns. They're gonna win some battles. You will be a sentient door control panel for the rest of your existence. Yeah, rest of existence. Yeah, exactly.
If we encounter Chaos forces,
you need not concern yourself with me, Lieutenant.
Disappear like that again, and you'll be facing the Master of the Watch.
I understand. Sir, why did you not tell us of your penance earlier?
It was not your business.
And now it is.
You have made it so. Through suspicion and intrigue.
But like, see, the thing I don't get about it's like, do you have to make a door switch have like a human brain in it? Like, you know, I understand it's like, okay, you're trying to make a computer or some sort, or maybe like a really advanced computer, and you don't like AI. And so you've decided, okay, we're gonna do a thing where you're you know, where we put a human brain in it, so it's some sort of advanced intelligence, but it's still a human, so it's not the abominable intelligence of AI.
Open the gates.
They're jammed, my lord. Damage from the last attack.
But like, yeah, AI's heresy. Yeah, I understand that, but it's like, I'm curious of like regular modern day light switches don't need to have an AI in them. They just work because it's just a circuit.
Seal the gates behind us.
Yes, my lord. Close the gates.
And like, not every computer in 40K, or at least for the humans, is like servitor, right? It's like has like human. It's some of it is just like a computer. It's just like a computer.
Seen us spotted. Here they come.
If the Dark Eldar catch your sentient leather coat. Jesus. Is that what they do? I don't know. I like the Eldar and the Dark Eldar are like, I know nothing about that. Oh, it costs more to make a computer than it does a servitor? Okay. So it's just a cost thing. I thought about that, where it's just like, oh, it's cheaper, and it made me think of a scene from that. There was that Chernobyl miniseries from like a couple years back. That
Thank you, brother.
That had like this Chernobyl miniseries where like at the very end, the one doctor scientist guy is giving his report on the disaster, and he explains it's like, why do we like one guy at like the trial's asking, it's like, so why do we use this kind of reactor? And or something, or why is something like this? And he goes, well, for the same reason why the Soviet Union is the only place in the world that uses this kind of reactor with no containment building and all that. It's cheaper. And everyone in the room kind of just goes, that's uncomfortable to think about. Oh my god, are the AI actually gonna just let me die? What the fuck? Wow. What the fuck? That's I don't like, I really dislike how co-op-y the single player campaign is. I don't like the fact that there's like a down but not out thing like that when that fits more into co-op. Like, if you're gonna do that, just like, I don't know. Feels weird.
Seal the gates behind
I am serious. Again, I really like this game, but I have some like 2 or 3 big, just like, this looks like visually, this game is fucking, it's pretty. It's exceptionally pretty. It's fun to play outside of like minor gameplay hitches, but like stuff like the way that it feels like this game was not tested, or maybe not designed with single player in mind. There are certain encounters that just don't feel they don't feel like they've been the difficulty of them, of like the spinning plates, was clearly, it feels designed for multiple people to handle it instead of a single individual. Like, the AI will often just ignore certain enemies or certain objectives, and it's like, it makes it so that the player is the only one who can do it, and you are the only player. Hello. I hate these things so much. It has questionable design choices in that they're very antiquated in like a way where it makes me wonder. I'm curious how long this game was in development for, and how much of this was how long was this game in development for, and how long was this maybe like, oh, there was going to be a sequel to this game 3 years after the first one came out, and that there was maybe like some sort of skeleton of design that was brought into this one. This is just me speculating. I have no proof or evidence of this either way, but it feels like that, like, because a lot of these things feel like a game from 2010, 12, you know, sort of thing. And they did sequel bait, yes, they did sequel bait, you know, and so, and I think the game, you know, I don't know if the game did well enough or not, but, you know, they did sequel bait because, you know, why, if it does well, make a sequel because money. But it makes me wonder if they, if it's like they had maybe some really old skeleton under here. It did, okay, the studio died, yeah. Rip.
Resupplying.
Ooh.
The spores collapse the bridge. There's no way through. I may have an alternate route.
Proceed.
Transmitting to all specs now. We'll need to clear this debris.
You gotta be more specific, there's a lot of debris. Most of the Imperium is probably debris. It's also odd how Dumb and Dumber sometimes just decide to leave the execution to you. I feel like that's probably just like a concession to, oh, I remember this from the showing off of this game.
Damn spores. The Cadians will make short work. Indeed.
I think that's probably just like a concession to the single player, because it's like, I think it's like, do it on your own, or let the player do it because you need it. The player needs to regenerate their armor and the iframes, so only do it if it's like, I don't know, some really weird sort of, because I've seen them do it. I've seen them do it a couple times, but it's very rare. And I still find it strange that I think it's very bizarre that you use
Melter detonation imminent.
Oh my god, I didn't even know what I just did.
I know it.
I know what I just did, but like
Grabbing equipment.
I keep mixing up X and B for some reason. It's done when they walk away from swaying, they're ready for change. Yeah. You know, I still think it's bizarre that you even, oh my god. Yeah! Sweet. I still think it's weird that the executions don't give you health. I find that just very, very strange.
I think we found our exit.
It's so weird because
Our brothers are getting
that's like that's something that the first game did. You kill the enemies with execution, you get health. That's something that like Doom's done. That's something that so many games have done, where it's like, okay, how do you keep the gameplay up without, okay, the player's gonna lose health, you know, because they're fighting enemies. How do we what's it called? How do we get this, how do we make it so that they can recover health without killing the gameplay? We'll make it a part of the gameplay that by killing weakened enemies, they can regen their health. And it's a really clever means of keeping the gameplay fast and frenetic. and not making it so that your player doesn't constantly have to be like, oh no, I'm out of health, I'm gonna go hide for it to regenerate, or I'm gonna go scour for medikits or something, right? And then and it's weird because this is after Doom and Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal, and they decide to do this weird thing where it regens your armor, not your health. It's very, very strange. And it's one of those things where it's like, it's not necessarily bad design, but it's like odd. It's questionable. Like, I can't seem to think. See, I think it's like, yeah, they want you to dance between balance between taking damage and regenning armor, but the armor seems quite low. Yeah, you only get 2 pips of armor in the campaign, it seems, and they don't regenerate very fast on their own. They do occasionally. I don't know if it's like checkpoint based or something, but they do regenerate. But it seems very, very weird. Like, I would be interested in like a mod for this game that reverses it. I would be interested in a mod that switches it so that you regenerate, your armor regenerates like a shield, like Halo or like the original game, and that glory kills regenerate health, and seeing how the game plays. And it's so weird that there's a rally system in this game, a la Bloodborne. Other games have done it, but I think Bloodborne is probably the most well known, where you can regenerate health that from damage you take. But it seems very, again, it's a very weird implementation of the rally system, because the rally system in Bloodborne gives you a decent amount of time to regenerate your health by attacking enemies. In this game, your like white health that goes down so fast that you barely have a time to get it. And it also doesn't regenerate on ranged attacks, which feels really strange, because if you're fighting ranged enemies and you take damage, your armor, or your health doesn't come back. And it's like, how am I supposed to rally that health back when I don't get it from shooting a gun at them? I feel like there was a bit of like, what do we do for this game? Oh, let's take all these different things that we like from other games. It's like, let's take a little bit of the inspiration of like sort of the parry and the rally system from Bloodborne. Let's maybe a little bit of like, well, the first game had it, but with Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal have come out. Let's make a little bit more crazy glory kills and sort of having the gameplay thing. But I feel like this game could have used another pass of like, okay, let's go through this game again, real slow and methodically, and let's see whether or not certain things need to be altered. Like, I don't know anything about this developer. Like, I don't know how big of a team they are, how much time and money they had for this. I know this game was delayed. Is this the way forward? Because if it is, I have to go the opposite way first, because that's the way you're supposed to go, is you go the opposite direction of the intended route and find loot.
Incoming mines!
Lol.
Record. Declare evidence. Crates found in Sector 55 of the Upper Hive contain 12 volumes of dubiously heretical works. Also recovered.
My mate said the same thing about combat, so you're definitely not alone with these thoughts. Yeah, and again, it's like, I think there's nothing wrong with criticizing a game at all. There's nothing wrong with saying that you like a flawed game, or that you think a game is good but flawed, or any sort of thing like that.
Evidence to be destroyed in accordance with invasion protocols.
Like, if I thought this game was like fucking shit-ass terrible, I wouldn't play it. There have been moments where I've been exceptionally frustrated with this game. There was the part with the antenna where you have to defend the fucking antenna. That was a pain in the ass. There's the part where you have to defend this reactor I failed that fucking twice. It took me 3 times to get that. It was exceptionally frustrating. And there's weird quirks to this gameplay, but like, it's a weird thing because, in a way, this game is very much like the first in that it was good but flawed. The first game was a very flawed game. Maybe not very flawed, but it was clearly like there was some parts that were mediocre, some parts that maybe didn't have enough time or ideas that weren't fleshed out as enough as maybe the developers hoped. And I feel like this is sort of the same thing, where it has those issues, but there's enough good that you can go, you could play through it and say I enjoyed it and that it is a good game. And that you could, you would say if someone asked, is this a good game? Do you recommend? You could probably say yes.
Cut them down. Their champion lies defeated.
I like how there's like little floaty chaos runes in the air, like snowflakes.
Yes. Elaborate. The Traitor Legion's legacy of deception goes back 10,000 years. They are masters of it.
They are clearly here to stop Aurora.
I am not convinced. There is more to this, I am sure of it.
Their motives matter not. I will kill them just the same.
Oh, this is cool. Oh, this is cool. No, don't shoot me. Shoot the fucking Chaos Marines. I just want to watch them infight. I love infighting. I love it's monster infighting or enemy infighting is always so cool.
Ready to deploy special tactics.
I remember being like 12 or something and playing Gary's mod, and I would go into like a level and I would spawn a bunch of enemies or a bunch of NPCs of like a bunch of combine NPCs and a bunch of like zombies or something, and I would just watch them fight. I would set up a bunch of battles and just have them fight. So to this day I still love seeing NPCs fight each other. It's cool to watch, and it's also a little bit of catharsis to see these guys who have been giving you trouble the whole game have to deal with each other. So I've noticed that with the Tyranids, when you kill some of the bigger ones, they let out like a scream, and it causes like the little guys to die. Is that like a thing? Is that like represented in any way in the lore or in tabletop? I loved infighting in Doom back in the 90s. Hey, that was always good, you know. Oops, you shot your imp shot another imp, and now they're fighting, or an imp shot a Pinky, and now he's getting his head teared off. Apparently it's part of the hive mind thing. I'm assuming like the bigger ones are like more, or like maybe like I don't know, the bigger one, I'm guessing like the bigger ones are like network nodes, right? The warriors, okay, the big thing with it is the hive mind, the warriors project, yeah, so they're like a Wi-Fi router for the hive mind, and I'm guessing that when you kill them, it affects the other ones, the smaller ones. Were those like, are those ones we just killed, are they like Terminators? Do Terminator Marines still exist in the Primaris? Are there Primaris Chaos Marines too? Sorry, I'm asking a bunch of questions in rapid succession. These just come to me.
Resupplying.
Don't feel like you have to rush yourself to answer my stupid questions. You don't have to play Google. I do like this sort of chaos growth. It's kind of cool. You know, I know in Darktide, the cultists you fight in Darktide are all Nurgle, and so it's all like just like piles of like disgusting flesh and eyeballs. I've seen one Chaos model with a Primaris helmet from Games Workshop, but official Imperial World is no Primaris has ever fallen. So what you're saying is that Games Workshop, I keep seeing GW and wanting to say Guild Wars. Games Workshop is going to wait until they need to sell more Chaos Marines, where they're going to go, here's a bunch of Primaris have fallen, buy more plastic.
We should turn around and regroup with the main force.
Titus to Resilient. Requesting Gamma Pat and Hammerfall bunker on my location immediately.
You mean to jump?
Request confirmed. Stand by.
There's our entry.
That's quite a shot.
Damocles to Delassa. Report.
So what is the excuse in the lore for the Primaris?
Then our little excursion was all for naught.
Pretty sure I saw somewhere that they have some warp resist. They had more warp resistance. Yo, I remember one of these things from the fucking Dawn of War. Oh good, the jump packs. I can't wait to whiff these jumps.
We should have remained with the main force.
Why toil in obscurity when there's glory center stage? Hey, Sergeant?
Our brothers are dying while we sneak around in the shadows.
If we fail to send this message, we face a massacre.
So like the Primaris, is it just like did they find some MacGuffin with like, oh, here's how to make better Marines?
You say there will be a massacre. How do you know that? Why else would the traitors be trying so hard to stop us?
No, it's much sillier than that. Oh no. Oh no. That would have been like the easiest way to do it. Would be like, oh, there was like a fucking they found like a standard construction template or whatever that showed how to make better Marines. It was lost in some world that was forgotten in the edge of the galaxy or something.
Damn it.
Something about thinking how to improve the Marines as soon as getting that woke up. Yo, Blueberry Man, I got a homecoming gift. They had the boss tech was locked in a closet for 10,000 years, updating the Emperor's design. Oh my god. I feel like you could make like a skit out of that where he's been like locked in this closet for fucking ages. He's been locked away, and then they come to him and it's like, so do you finally have a way to make the Marines better? And he goes, oh, that's what you wanted me to do. Right, no, definitely. And he just like scrawls on like a piece of paper, like, make them bigger. See, here you go. Done. It's just, I just think about like the whole bigger joke of like they're bigger. It reminds me, there's in the Battlefleet Gothica or Battlefleet Gothica game, I think it's the second one. There's a conversation that happens in the Necron campaign where you have a couple of these Necrons talking about Space Marines that they're going to have to deal with, right? And one of the Necron advisors one of the Necrons go like, their Primarch is coming or something like that. And then the Necron commander's asking his advisor, it's like, what is a Primarch? What is that? And he replies, it's their leader, my lord, like them but taller. And so that's what I just think of Primaris Marines now, is they're Space Marines but taller. You're not technically wrong. Yeah, well, it's funny. It's amazing dialogue. One of the better 40k games. I haven't actually played it. I just remember that line from a review. Someone featured it in a review for the game. That game is also on my list of I will get it when I see it on like sale. I'm gonna. If it's like an 80% discount, like in one of the sales on Steam, I think I might pick that up because that could be fun. I've played a lot of RTS games growing up as a kid, of every like kind of variety, and I suck at all of them. So yeah, it was Mandalore Gaming's video. That is a very funny line.
Repositioning.
I feel like there's like so much there's so much lore in 40k where it's like it's just like I think of like all of the stupid shit I know, and then I think of like there's entire factions that I know like nothing about. Like I don't know like anything about the Tyranids. Before this game I knew like nothing about them. I still don't really know too much, but I don't know like a single thing about the Necrons. They're just spooky space skeletons to me. I don't know like anything about the Eldar. It makes me realize that it's like I only really like the Imperium chapter or the Imperium factions. I think they're cool. Give me more human factions. If I ended up making or getting minifigures, it would just be like 10 different human armies. Yeah, pretty sure the Imperium has the most lore, so it's pretty valid. It makes sense. Like, you know, they're the human factions. Human factions, you know, as most people know, is most writers, well, all writers are humans, as far as we know. So, write what you know. Want a quick history of 40k? Is that even possible?
None have been achieved. No going back now.
Like, I remember there was an old website, I think it's defunct now. It was called 1D4chan, and it was like a wiki for like tabletop stuff. And a lot of it was 40k. And I remember, I think it was like, it would have been maybe just after high school. I remember reading like almost every article they had about 40k. And obviously it was written in like a shitposty style, where it was very irreverent and very like jokey, and often very inappropriate in terms of like every way possible. But it was fucking hysterical, and that's where I like cut my teeth on sort of the lore of 40k. It's like it was one of those things. It was written by people who clearly liked and cared about the lore, but they were more than willing to criticize and poke fun at things that were stupid or bad. You know, they weren't trying to glaze it. It wasn't like an official wiki where there's no bad stuff. Oh, I miss having the health regen ability. Millions of years ago, the Necrons had a big war with the Old Ones who created the Eldar and Orcs to fight. Necrons were like, that's bullshit, and went for a million-year nap. Eldar ruled until... I'll wait for you to finish. See, that one website, 1D4chan, is where I learned, yes, the word murder fucked as in regards to how Slaanesh was created. It was just like, they just like extreme decadence. Like their decadence was so, they were so, just like so degenerate and just filled with so much debauchery that they literally birthed fucking an evil god into existence. They did so much space coke that Slaanesh was born and created the Eye of Terror. Then there were humans, the human golden age after the Eldar Empire fell. I think I mentioned it on the last stream that I remember that reading like some fluff or someone talking about like how like humans at like the peak of technology were like, it was like insane. I remember, again, it was like they had like, I remember we made like something about like black hole guns and AI and like fucking precognition devices where they would shoot where their enemies were going to appear, and then they would just like, because they could see into the future, and then their enemies would appear there and they'd just get fucking hit by whatever they fired. And like, don't like the Eldar now, like they go to like special hell because of what they've done. Yeah, Dark Age of Tech were OP as fuck. Like I remember that point when I was playing through Rogue Trader, and you have your one Eldar companion you can get, and I remember talking to her about the stuff. Like tell me about.
We must proceed on foot.
The Eldar has spirit stones. Yes, that's what I remember. She's talking about her spirit stones or something, and how
the enemy have breached our lines. Talassa has failed.
if you don't have your spirit stone, you're it's like if you don't have your stone, you go to hell, and your soul gets consumed.
Come on, Talassa.
Craft World Eldar need to wear those gems to capture their souls after death. Dark Eldar just torture other people to keep Slaanesh from doing this stuff. Jesus. It's like, I don't know. I wonder if like, I wonder how many factions in 40K were made as a result of having to have something that is a mirror of a Warhammer Fantasy faction. Really? They have a metaphysical need to inflict pain. Jesus. Because like most of the factions in 40K, you can find some like mirroring for stuff in Warhammer Fantasy. Some are a stretch, but like it's pretty clear for most. Wait, didn't they bring back the space dwarves recently, the squats? Called the League of Votan. Well, they're still squats to me. I remember seeing old pictures of like the original squats, and they were really cute. Yeah, the Eldar are elves, the Votan are dwarfs, the Empire are humans, orcs are orcs, the Necrons are the Tomb Kings. Like, there's some pretty clear like Like even like to the point where it's like you have Eldar and then you have Dark Eldar, as in the same way you have, you know, elves and dark elves, and they're also very similar in terms of like, you know, there's cat people now.
My armor is breached at multiple points. The Emperor protects.
I feel like cat people, it's weird because I know like in the modern day, cat people is like, Dark Elves are just dicks. They don't have nearly as good of a justification as the Dark Eldar. Are they just like, they're just like malevolent. They're just like horrible people, right? I'm being chased by Carnifex.
Stay clear of its charging path.
Sorry, I was saying about cat people. It's weird. Like I know, like in the modern day, like people associate cat people with like anime in Japan, like oh, cat girls, ha ha ha. But like going back like decades, both Star Trek and I even believe Star Wars have had like cat species. It's like a very common thing in both science fiction and fantasy to have like, you know, people with the, you know, like anthropomorphized anthropomorphized animal species. See, I'm not super familiar with the canon of like of in terms of like individual like bits of fluff and stuff like that, but I am familiar with the company that owns an IP ruining it. So I used to be really into World of Warcraft, so I know the feeling of why do you keep making this IP worse? Please stop.
Special tactics ready.
This animation is ridiculously long to kill that thing.
Armor eliminated. Resupplying.
Another Carnifex? Excuse me?
They never learn.
You're fucking kidding me, right? 2? No. No, this is a meme, right?
I have you.
Okay, it is. It's a meme.
They are falling. All of them.
The Hive Hive Tyrant was controlling these underlings via synaptic link. The turmoil you now see among the enemy can mean only one thing. The Hive Tyrant is dead.
Wait, so you have to kill the Hive, you kill the Hive Tyrant in a co-op mission?
Excellent work, brother. Any contact with Talassa?
Talassa to Damocles. The alien contaminates our world no longer.
Lieutenant Titus to relay. Area secure. Open the gates.
Yep, it's one of the operations. Yeah, I'll probably have to do those two if I want to get the full experience. I will do once I'm finished the campaign. I will do the co-op missions. Maybe not like maybe not tonight, but like I will do that in a stream. There's like 6 of them. Oh my god. Is bolt gun canon? I don't know. Bolt gun? I don't know. I've seen bolt gun. You know, if you like it, it's canon. Again, as I mentioned a couple minutes ago, I've learned to just say I don't give a shit what you, the owner of the IP, says is canon. If I think it's shit, it's not canon. If I think it's good, it's canon.
Is that right?
Enough!
Lieutenant, upon completion of this mission, I request transfer to another squad.
I will pass your request to the captain.
They're handling the plot device from Space Marine 1 in Bolt Gun. Wow, that's a cute little continuation there. Ain't that nice?
With this, we shall defy death's grasp.
Yeah, I'm of the opinion that, you know, especially when you have people who are like companies that weren't the original owners of an IP, or it's been like years or even decades since like an IP had an entry, and then here we go, we're gonna give you the new entry in your favorite series. Sure, we didn't give a shit about the old series or any of its history or lore or characters, and we're gonna shit all over it, and you have to fucking deal with it. No, go fuck yourself. I just think it's all shit and garbage, and I'm gonna consider it shit garbage. You know. Crosstalk.
Denying worlds in their path the chance to call for aid.
Let us hope we are not too late.
Oh, is this the Astro thing? The communications thing? I didn't know it looked like the fucking Matrix with people in pods. Jesus. Astropathic choir, that's it. Wait, why did it switch my gun? Why did it switch my gun? No. I'm suddenly not using the same guns I was using like 2 minutes ago.
A fine gift from the forge.
Yeah, being a psyker isn't fun. Isn't a fun time for 99% of them. It's like, be like a fucking tortured soul that's used as like a navigational fucking GPS beacon. Be fed to the Emperor to keep him alive. Be straight up killed. If you were one of the, I don't know, maybe like, I've seen some cool pictures and like art of, I've seen art of like Primaris Psychers that looks fucking awesome. That would be kind of cool.
You shouldn't be here.
I have a message for Marnius Calgar.
I cannot help you.
It's urgent.
In addition to the shadow cast in the warp by the Tyranids, demonic forces are now poised to attack anyone who opens their minds to the warp.
You would flee from your duty.
I would have you know.
Give me your message.
See? Like, this kind of crazy psyker shit seems pretty cool. Like, look at her fucking drip.
Let us begin.
My lady, I must protest. The danger is too great.
Silence! There are no guarantees.
I enjoyed being a, what's it called? Being a psyker in Darktide. That was kind of cool. True. Yeah, you constant whispering of demons, risk of possession, everyone hates you, your own people use you as a psychic power pack. That... You literally have to tap into hell to do this stuff? Yeah. There's always an inquisitor or a commissar or someone else who's more than willing to, at the barest hint of anything, shoot you in the back of the head. So glad this isn't a fucking quick time event. If this game was from 2011, it would be a quick time event.
What have you done?
This has got to be tedious and annoying as hell for Titus, yes. He is like the most misaligned space marine in the Empire. Like... I smell a boss fight. It's literally Andros all over again. Yeah, really. One of the things, again, that they said that this game is like very much like the first one in terms of like even how the story plays out. Holy shit. Is this them trying to make up for the fact that the boss in the first game was literally a quick time event? Wow, please stop.
You have tasted it, Titus. Its essence in your hand.
What is even happening? This guy just fucking summoned synthetic black hole. What the shit?
For
God, there's just so much shit on the screen. Oh man, I will say that with video games becoming more like particle effect heavy, it's like, oh, everything has to have sparks and smoke and fire, and it's got to be super realistic, and then you realize, well, you can't fucking see anything. What is this shit? Oh wow, that was cool. So what are these little guys? What are the little demon guys called? Beastmen. Oh, well. That's not as exciting. Is the teammate in this game good, or is it mid? Well, I have been affectionately, well, maybe not that affectionately, I have been calling them Dumb and Dumber throughout the entire course of the game. They are sometimes next to brain dead, and it's a common complaint I've seen a lot of people talk about. Let's say 40k, yeah, 40k doesn't have like a true equivalent to the Beastmen from Fantasy. Yeah, the companion AI is not great. They will sometimes refuse. Certain enemies, they will refuse to engage at all. The zoantropes, the guys who float around and shoot like psychic laser beams, they will often just not shoot them at all. And certain quest objectives, they will not engage with at all. And it becomes extraordinarily frustrating because you then have to do all the work. For certain parts where it feels like it's balanced around having multiple people do it. There was particularly a part last time I streamed this where you have to defend multiple like antennae, and they have health bars, and so if one of them gets destroyed, that's mission failed. And you have to fight Tyranids attacking you, and you have to shoot the Tyranids on the antenna, and they will not shoot any of them on the antenna. So it's all up to you to do it while also being, beaten down by what's it called? By a ton of Tyranids. Well, of course, okay, they're Felgor. Okay, that's what they're called. Like
using crack grenade.
There we go. Did a decent amount of damage too. Where do you come from? Need ammo. Why is my camera all locked? Fuck off. These flamethrower guys are nasty. Careful with that warplane, it doesn't just burn up your hero, regrows tiny tentacles. Well, that's horrifying.
Clearing the way.
I don't know how did tentacles become like the symbol of like corruption and alienness? Yeah, because it's like there are things on Earth today that are completely just normal animals that have tentacles. Please. Oh, these fucking flamethrower guys suck. What even happened?
Back to the reload. Munitions secured.
I think this boss fight needs to chill on the amount of enemies it spawns. It's getting a little bit annoying to just kill a group of enemies and then have them immediately replaced by another group of enemies. See, that's not cool, game. Especially when the AI doesn't get, like, I have to, like, that's the thing, is that the AI is not good at keeping these things off my back. And so I have to focus on dealing with them and shooting the boss. This would be a good example. It's not as rough as the other part, but this is a good example of something that I feel was tested with 3 players, with 3 human players, and not 1.
War gear prime.
Armor back. Oh. No, a fucking second phase? You're fucking kidding me. Come on, really? That better be a fucking checkpoint. I will literally quit playing this if, like, the stream's over if I die and I have to do this in one go. Just let this guy fucking be a punching bag. Yeah, at least no more mob spam. It's like we get it. You like playing Dark Souls or Bloodborne. The devs played Bloodborne before they made this. The parrying with a gun feels very Bloodborne. Oh, come on. Zinch. He said Zinch. Zinch. I'm gonna forget how to say that in like a week. Ah, shit, with that one. Also, I'm gonna say, is this character one that I should know who he is? Oh, his whiff is a dodge. All right, second phase wasn't as bad, you were right. Nah, it's just some random Chaos Lord, I think. Oh, okay. I thought it would have been like, oh, it was the evil Inquisitor from the first game. He's now super evil or something. I don't know.
How did you know? I was a boy on Calf when the Word Bearers attacked. I came to know the mark of chaos.
We're returning to the battle barge. I understand your actions, but your suspicions end here. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
That's interesting because the Battle of Cave was in the Horus Heresy. Your battle bro is 10,000 years old, so that's a mistake then, right?
Brothers, this is Aurora. Within the last few hours, traitor forces have arrived in their hundreds and commandeered the facility.
Commandeered? Where is Luz?
Inside. They have the facility, Luz, and the power source.
Holy terror.
Perhaps you were right, Titus.
What's our theoretical?
We've diverted all available forces to the Merium, but we're well below full strength. We've prepared an assault, but it has little chance of success, unless we take care of this.
The MacGuffin
They're
Tower.
using it to draw in reinforcements. For every one of them we kill, 2 more show up in their place. It's heavily guarded.
I'll need a combat squad, 5 men.
I can spare 3 men. Next, the enemy seem to be drawing their power from this structure.
What is it?
We don't know. Every attempt to bring it down has failed. Your squad has developed a reputation.
Wasn't that because of how during the Horse Heresy some Marines were put in stasis until they could revive them, aka the Primaris surgery?
I've read of Temerian.
Sealed Marine in a can?
4,000 years ago, there was a clash between the Ultramarines and the Heretics. The Sword of Atreus, a battle barge wrecked in the fighting, was laid to rest here.
What of it?
That would explain his hatred for chaos. Oh, he's been around since the heresy.
Even as it was interred.
He's really pissed off. It's still fresh in his mind.
It may not fly, but it might ram.
A long shot to say the least.
Worth a try.
Very well then.
Navigation systems are probably dead.
We can't afford to miss. He's right. Someone will need to get close to the target and place a beacon.
Our offensive launches in 90 minutes. The Emperor guide you, brothers.
And you, sir.
Well, that'd be a pretty cool plot point if it's actually what is the thing and it's not actually a mistake. Mistakes into miracles.
Lieutenant Titus, see me on the crew deck at once.
As you wish, Chaplain.
Ensure brothers Chiron and Gadriel are in attendance.
I wonder how many things where it's like,
Using
you
an
know,
ancient
the writer
battle
just
barge as a
fucked up,
battering ram.
and then
An
the
unorthodox approach.
fans go, oh, but it actually makes sense if you think about this like
it is
obscure lore
inspired
point.
I reluctantly second that.
And then it's like, oh yeah, and then the writer goes, yes, of
Because it will
course,
go to your
that's
head.
exactly what I meant. Oh, I intended that from the very beginning. Every Ultramarine I see that a helmet has hella facial hair or actual hair, whereas other Marines tend to be bald. Well, we got a mix here. Like, Chiron is bald. This is fucking smooth as a baby's bottom. No facial hair, maybe like a little bit of 5 o'clock shadow. Titus is desperately trying to keep his receding hairline in check. I'm sorry, dude, but you're gonna lose that in the next century. And this man has like,
Titus,
other than like the weird side shave, has like flowing locks.
Received from the Astra Telepathica an accusation of heresy.
Her voice was puppeted by a...
The lieutenant will answer.
The Psycho was possessed.
Your sergeant believed otherwise.
I was mistaken.
You attempted to incapacitate your lieutenant.
Thank the Emperor I failed.
And now, the only individual capable of reaching Lord Kelgar is dead. By your hands. I will be watching all of you. Should I suspect even a flicker of corruption,
But like,
I will not hesitate as you did.
but like, couldn't we like prove this? Do cameras not exist? I got an achievement to hear all of his dialogue, all the chaplain's
What
dialogue.
was spoken by the chaplain?
Brothers, we have arrived at the Merium. Thunder locks immediately and prepare for assault.
Time to go.
I mean, it's 40k. Be glad you only got a warning. Yeah. It makes you think of like how many people have been falsely fucking shot in the face because of like bad. Oh, they sneezed the other day. It's clearly corruption by chaos.
Thalassa has the warp beacon. Viridian is hoping for a miracle. The rest of us will move to clear the reliquaries around the basin and establish a beachhead. We are facing overwhelming enemy numbers on Demerium, but the heretic filth down there
Oh,
has
that's
stirred the
so.
wrath of the Second Company.
That comment is so like.
The traitors such agony,
Oh,
the
it's
likes
so
of which
mean.
they have not seen since the burning of
I don't know much about Ultramarine lore because it's like liking ice cream but being a vanilla enthusiast.
They will fall.
Ugh.
Sons of Gilliman, for the glory of Ultramar!
For the glory of Ultramar!
Yeah, they are sneezing equal Nurgle corruption real. I will say the Ultramarines, it's like if you told me I have to make I have to make a my own you know, it's one of those things where it's like I can respect vanilla. It's that one fucking song where they go vanilla's the finest of the flavors. Vanilla is fine. It's a good flavor, but
Theoretically, can Tacticus armor withstand a suborbital drop? Gravis is too cumbersome for our needs.
Negative. Extreme risk. Dense debris fields litter the entry flight path.
But if we avoid the debris, could we survive the descent?
Calculating. Survival probability equal to 62.4.
I like vanilla's really good. Vanilla's a good canvas as well. You know, you have a vanilla ice cream, you put a bunch of stuff on it, and then you know you can put some sauce, you can put some fruit, you could do something like that. But
with a 38% failure rate, we are facing much less favorable odds today.
God, what are those things called again? The things where the guys are trapped in the suit, like a super wounded Marine is put in there. Dreadnoughts? Is that what they're called? Okay, a dreadnought. Yeah, I remember there was the dreadnought in fucking Dawn of War 2 Retribution. You could get. He had a autocannon, like a big autocannon bolter, and he had like an ability where he would do like a one 60-degree arc of it and just shred things, and it was just so satisfying. Just even in death, I still serve. All right, before I continue this mission, I'm going to take a quick bathroom break because even Marines need to pee, I think. There you go. I'm going to ask a question. Do Marines have bodily functions? Do Space Marines have bodily functions? Answer me that while I go to the bathroom.